when I say unhinged, this is pretty unhinged, and I thought it had to be included here. So let's go back. This is the Faulkner Focus. Yeah, this is a Fox News show. If you haven't seen it, we don't cover her as much. I mean, most of her coverage is really unserious coverage, culture war sort of stuff. She's sort of like a Laura Ingraham, a black version of Laura Ingraham. Oh, really, no. That's really what she is. If you could imagine that in your head. I don't mean to bring you that much trauma, but try to imagine that. But the guest she brings on is completely unhinged.
Shame on you, Joe Biden! Shame on you! Shame on you! You are funding genocide in Palestine and no amount of full concern that you will change the billions that you are doing! You blood on your hands!
All right.
Love it.
Yeah, love it too.
Anti-Israel protesters crashing President Biden's star-studded fundraising shindig that included former Presidents Obama.
Oh yeah, she had somebody sub for her, so this is not Faulkner. So you're not going to see her. So just to correct that, this is somebody I just remember somebody filled in for her.
And Clinton, they interrupted the event multiple times. Obama even scolded them at one point, saying, "quote, you can't just talk and not listen. That's what the other side does." Biden facing lots of backlash over his Israel policies, much of it from within his own party and his own administration. Another State Department employee announced her resignation, joining two others who have left. She explained it this way.
I think as it became clear what U.S. policy was going to be as far as enabling the ongoing military operations in Gaza, as well as the intentional use of starvation as a weapon, I was initially just going to resign quietly. I just didn't want to be part of this government anymore. But as I started to let colleagues know of my intention, they said, please speak for us. Please use your voice.
A Democrat-aligned Jewish group is endorsing primary challengers to two progressive squad members, Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, over their anti-Israel rhetoric. It's the first time the organization has moved against Democratic incumbents. On the other side, House Republicans accused the Biden administration of undermining Israel in its war against Hamas by abstaining from a vote on a UN resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire. They, along with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, argue the move has emboldened Hamas. And just this week, a Hamas leader said the terror group will not release any hostages unless Israel complies with its demands. Mark Thiessen, Fox News contributor and former White House speechwriter, is here.
This guy right
Mark,
here.
How do you see this playing out here in the election? There's also an Alan Dershowitz piece about Joe Lieberman's last words to Joe Biden about in a editorial he wrote about how Joe Biden's going to lose Jewish Democrat voters.
What's up with those shoulders?
Voters generally. I mean, there's a.
What did you say?
What's up with that? It's like a yellow spacesuit with like big wing shoulders. Did they not have anybody to tell her? Like
their dress on Fox News is a little out there sometimes. This is not the first time you'll see somebody on there like that. But let's continue.
Harris poll that just came out that said 56% of Americans think that Biden is more concerned with domestic politics and what's best for Israel and the world when it comes to this policy. He's seen as pandering to this anti-Semitic minority on the left. And, you know, he was standing on that stage with Bill Clinton. Why didn't he take a page out of Bill Clinton's playbook and have a sister soldier moment? Why didn't he turn to those protesters and say, you know why there's so many civilian casualties in Gaza? Because Hamas uses civilians as human shields, because Hamas launched a terrorist attack against Israel, and it is responsible for all the civilian deaths taking place in Gaza today. And the United States stands 100% behind Israel in its campaign to liquidate and remove Hamas from.
So I wanted to get to that point there, because if we are a voter who don't want to support a genocide, who do we vote for? Because we just heard Obama scold protesters who don't want to support this genocide and saying, hey, you got to let us talk, basically saying, give me the opportunity to fool you with my smooth voice to trick you into supporting the genocide. That's basically what he wants you to do. And then we go, wait a minute, we don't want them. So you go, let's flip over to Fox News. Let's see if they have somebody who's anti-genocide. Then you turn over there, then you see on there, Anthony, you see them critiquing Joe Biden as if he's too soft.
Yeah.
As you protest him for being too hard. But go ahead.
They had to etch out their lane because they can't say we agree with Biden, but they agree with Biden. They agree with Obama. The bottom line is they might look like they're at odds a little bit, but both parties and both sides of the, Democrat, Republican aligned media are all in agreement. When they say he didn't go hard enough, that's, they got to say something. Otherwise, they're going to sound like CNN or MSNBC, who was cheering him on. But they all stand for the same exact things. There is no difference in how Republican and Democrat aligned media and Republican and Democrat politicians view this issue. There isn't, and just one quick thing, because I know before you bring on your other guest, who I'm excited to meet, they had Bill Clinton on there, and not enough was made of this. Bill Clinton doesn't do a lot of appearances for a reason. He was identified in the documentary on Epstein by a groundskeeper. I mean, this is all public. There's like no secrets here. There's nothing bombshell about it. At being at Epstein's Island, he flew on Epstein's plane 24 times. Bill Clinton has been credibly accused of the violent rape of Juanita Broaddrick. And I hear, the Biden supporters online will say, Anita Broaddrick, look at her tweet. Yeah, Anita Broaddrick is a raging conservative. I don't think I agree with anything she says politically. But, since when do we get to decide what political affiliations a rape survivor must have? That is just the biggest anti-woman, anti-survivor thing I've ever heard. So this guy, Bill Clinton's a full-fledged misogynist. And when the Democratic Party has him walk out on stage, they are telling you, we never cared about women and girls, let alone Biden, who's got his own list of credible allegations of significant sexual assault by Tara Reid, who worked for him at the time, and 7 women who came out and said that he inappropriately touched them. One said he harmed them. She was 19 at the time. So, you see who these characters are. The media never talks about it. So, that's why RBN exists and all the other independent shows. It's a shit show. By the way, I was thinking this. I guarantee not everybody paid for a ticket to go to that place. I am sure they're recruiting their paid young influencers